So the Saints got hit with a double whammy today, right before they got blown out against the Broncos at home. It was announced that Shaheed is out for this season with a meniscus injury. One of their best receivers next to Olave is done for the year. And just overall, the Saints are really banged up right now, and that's a big reason why they lost tonight and just got embarrassed at home. No Olave, no Shaheed. That O line is just a makeshift O line. And that defense, man, just terrible, 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 terrible. Soft. Just so soft. Can't tackle. Got dominated by the Broncos. The Broncos could be like a fringe playoff team, but they're not like this top tier team right now, at least. So for them to get blown out that bad at home is just not a great look. Spencer Rattler did what he could, but his receivers made some plays, a lot of drops, but not having Olave, not having Shaheed, and like I said, when your O line is banged up and you got to throw undrafted guys in there, that pretty much takes away the run game. And there was a lot of pressure on him all game long, and he took a lot of hits, man. Took a lot of hits, and I think he did what he could. I like his movement. I like his mobility. I do like his accuracy at times. I feel like he could be something still. Is he going to be like this top tier QB one day? Probably not, but I still feel like he could be something. I really want to see him with Chris Olave and what he could do there, but I don't know, man. We'll have to see. For some reason, the commentators want the third string to start over Spencer Rattler just because he threw three quick passes at the end of a blowout game and got a touchdown. I don't know if you guys agree with that. Would you start Spencer next week, or would you go with that other guy? Listen, man, I know the Broncos were kind of playing for that no touchdown sort of game defensively at the end there, but bro, like, it's a blowout game. There's 2 minutes left. The intensity is not going to be as it was at the start of the game, so I don't know. I just thought that was a weird kind of comment by Al Michaels and Herb, just like being fairly impressed with the third string coming in and throwing like three passes. Fair play to him, throwing your first NFL touchdown pass is really impressive stuff, but warrant that over a start over Spencer Rattler is a bit much. And again, I'm not saying Spencer Rattler is an amazing quarterback right now, but I feel like Spencer has more potential, and I feel like right now in a borderline rebuilding kind of tank year for the Saints, you got to get those reps in somehow, so just keep him in there. That's just my advice. What would you guys do? Would you roll with Spencer again, or would you throw the other guy in there? Let me know in the comments below. And yeah, man, it's a long way down real quick. Not only in football, but in life. Like, Saints 2-0, two huge blowout wins those first 2 weeks. Some people were talking about Super Bowl. Some people were talking crazy like that, but they've officially lost 5 straight, and the team is really just coming off the tracks. And just going forward, they really gotta let go of Dennis Allen. This has to be his last year as the head coach of the Saints. He's just a mediocre head coach. He's probably not the worst head coach we've seen, but I just don't think you could really win with a head coach like that. And when your background is being a defensive coordinator and your defenses are playing like that, how they've been playing the last couple of weeks, it's just not acceptable at all. So we'll see how the next 2-3 weeks goes. It might be another in-season firing, or they might just can him at the end of the year. If I had to guess, I would probably say they would just let him go at the end of the year just because he's been with the organization for a long time, so they kind of want to do right by him. But let me know what y'all would do. Would you fire him right now, or would you wait until the end of the year? And just going forward with this team, not only for like next year, but just like the future, like I would just do like a hard reboot right now, just a rebuild. Trade away everyone you can. Trade away Alvin. Trade away, Cam Jordan. Just try to get anything you could get for all those older veteran players. And I would still keep Olave because he's young, and Shaheed because they're young pieces, and it still might fit the timeline of adding another rookie quarterback. But everyone else that's a bit older, I would trade them ASAP. And yeah, I think it's just in the Saints' best interest to tank for the remainder of the year. I feel like it's going to be a really, really good quarterback draft class for 2025, and the Saints need a good quarterback. It's 2025, 2024 in the NFL. It's a passing league. It's been a passing league for a long time. If you don't have a good quarterback or a solid quarterback with potential, you're just not going to win anything in this league. That's just the way it is. You can't really get away with mediocre quarterback play, and I feel like Derek Carr is the definition of mediocre quarterback play. So I don't really know how they're going to get off that contract with Derek Carr, but they got to figure out a way somehow. Yeah, what would you guys do if you were the GM of the Saints? Would you do a hard reboot? Would you trade everyone away, or would you wait? What would you do? Let me know. I'm curious to hear it. But yeah, if you're a Saints fan, pretty miserable times right now. It could be worse. You could have gotten blown out at home against the Panthers or something. So it could always be worse. But we'll see how the rest of the year plays out for them. But yeah, they really need to address the quarterback position in the 2025 draft, which I'm sure they will. With that, I would just keep Spencer as the QB2 and just try to get off that Derek Carr contract. Just try to trade him somewhere, eat some of that money up, and just, yeah, man, start from ground zero. Next week, the Saints are going to LA, and then they're playing the Panthers. So very winnable games right there. So you never know, they could rattle off some W's, and I don't know when Derek Carr is going to come back. So I'm just kind of worried if you're a Saints fan that they might get stuck in that kind of middle of the pack purgatory, because if they do start winning like 2, 3, 4, 5 games here at the end of the year like they did a year ago, then they're not going to have that high draft pick, and they're not going to be in a position to get a guy that could come in and change the franchise. So that's just my real worry here, that they're not going to have a solid reboot and just get rid of everyone and just tank for the remainder of the year. So I don't know. I'd be kind of sweating it out a little bit, but we'll see what happens. I really hope they just reset it and just move on from just everyone involved on this team, essentially. They need to just nuke it. So let me know what y'all think about the blowout, about the game. Just a pretty easy win for the Broncos. Just really took care of business, dominated both lines of scrimmages, offensively, defensively. There was really no point in the game where the Saints were going to come back or anything like that. Just a routine win. Bo Nix had some pretty interesting passes, to say the least. Did not play a perfect game, but he played well enough. Dude can move on the ground. Javonte Williams, 2 touchdowns. Good for him, man. And the Broncos D looked pretty good, as they should when Olave's out, Shaheed's out, and that O-line is playing undrafted guys on a short week. So really not much to say about the game. But yeah, man. If you made this far, please subscribe. It'd help out your boy a lot. And that's all I got for right now. Peace.
They did not come away empty-handed, but did not get a touchdown either.
Well, they got that field goal, and I think that's important. That field goal gave them a little confidence. They got some points up there that always makes you feel good on the offensive side. Now take advantage of that good feeling. Go out there and score a touchdown this time.
Let's see if they can finish off a drive. 2nd and 6 coming up. The Broncos go with the dime formation here on defense. Rodgers from the shotgun. Randall Cobb has the reception.
There's no doubt time of possession can be an overrated stat in games many times. But one thing you want to do, throw and catch it just like this to pick up those first downs and keep it going.
1st and 10. They give it to him on the counter. The Packers still driving.